everyone, I am here with another story for you from our Miracles Do Happen book. Tonight's story is called Miracle Food, and it is by Elifrid Volk. They came at midnight, 2 weary soldiers in battle fatigues, their faces smudged and stained. You have to leave immediately, the older one said. We'll try to hold the Russians back for another half hour, so the last trainload of refugees can leave, but we can't guarantee anything beyond that. Mother grabbed the stair post behind her for support, and then after the soldiers had gone, sank to the floor. "Oh Lord, help us," she cried. "Help me and my children. What can we do?" Emily, my 14-year-old sister, asked. Since Mother had become so critically ill from stress and hunger, Emily had been in charge of the family. Because of her good care, Mother was able to be up for a little while each day, but Emily realized that if Mother did too much, she would have a setback. "Just pack up the essentials," Mother said, "but only the essentials. Since it is winter, take extra warm clothes and dress in layers. Not only will it keep you warm, but whatever you wear you won't have to pack and carry. I'm afraid you and Ruth will have to carry most of our things. Frida and David are still too little, but Willie can help. But hurry. We don't want to miss the train." "Ruth? Where is Ruth?" she asked. "Here I am," Ruth said, panting and coming in with 2 covered baskets. "Good girl," Mother said. "I see you packed already." "Yes," Ruth said, turning red. "I figured we would need some food." 5 minutes after the soldiers had given the alarm, the family was hurrying along the darkened streets to the railroad station. Mother collapsed into a train seat, and we children huddled around her, Ruth carefully guarding her baskets. Other refugees streamed onto the train, taking up every seat and crowding the aisles. I climbed onto Mother's lap so my siblings could have more room. "Well, at least no one will be able to fall," Mother said. "We are all packed in too tightly." "I'm just glad we came before every seat was taken," Emily commented. "Who knows how long we'd have to stay in the aisle otherwise, packed in like sardines." Darkness gave way to dawn, and day eventually turned to darkness again. Most of the time our train sat on side rails while others sped by, carrying troops to the front and bringing back the wounded. It was noisy, with babies wailing and adults joining in. Whenever we did move, a loud clicking and clanking added to the noises on the train as the wheels moved over rails that had been damaged and hastily repaired. "I'm hungry," Willie was the first to say what we all felt. At 9, he was undergoing a growth spurt. "Ruth, what do we have in your basket?" Mother asked. "Bread," she replied, taking some out. It was hard and dry. "That's it?" Mother asked. "Only dried bread?" "Well, I figured it wouldn't get moldy, and since it is in bits and pieces, we wouldn't need a knife to cut it." Mother sighed. "Good thinking," she said weakly. "You're a good girl." She watched the 5 of us gnaw on the rock-hard bread, but didn't take any herself. Instead, tears coursed down her sunken cheeks, and her lips moved silently. She was praying. She had taught us to pray whenever we were in trouble, and we certainly were in trouble now. Despite the noise and discomfort, some refugees managed to sleep. Some of those lucky enough to get a seat traded places with some who were standing. As complete darkness fell, the only noise was the clicking and clanking of the wheels and the rattle and squeak of the railway carriages. Then we saw a faint light in the distance. "We must be coming close to a town," someone said. Most were too weary to care. When the train stopped at the station, we were herded into a nearby school gymnasium. Volunteers served a watery tea, and straw was strewn over the floor as bedding. After our hot drink, we gathered our few possessions and settled down to an uneasy sleep. By Crying Infants. Cry-cree, cry-cree, cry-cree. It seemed as if we had just fallen asleep when the shrill call of a bantam rooster roused us. That's strange, Mother said. I thought we were in a town, but I hear a rooster crowing. Strangle the beast, someone said irritably. Ruth turned red and drew one of her baskets closer to her. Mother noticed. Do you know anything about a rooster? She asked Ruth. Ruth started to cry. I couldn't leave them, she said. Then they would have died without us there to look after them. And the little hen, I figured the egg she lays would help Friedel, as she is still so little and needs extra nutrition. But the rooster, Mother said, tears starting to course down her cheeks too. Here we are in a strange city with no money and no food except for a few pieces of dry bread. How will we survive? How will we feed your pet chickens? They can eat my portion, Ruth offered. Mother shook her head. Take them outside, she said. Perhaps they can scratch around in the dirt and find their own food. It was early morning when mothers took their children to the bakery to buy fresh buns for breakfast. Having been cooped up for more than 24 hours, the rooster flapped his wings and crowed his delight at being free again, while the little hen scratched and scurried around him. "Oh, Mommy, look! Look at the beautiful birds," the little girl cried out. "And they aren't even afraid of people. They are bantam chickens and must belong to someone," the mother said. "Can we feed them?" the girl asked. "Please, Mommy, can we feed them?" The woman looked at Ruth, who nodded. "All right," the mother said, "but just a little bit." Other children joined in, eager to feed the banties too. Some even fed them out of their hands. "Too much fresh bread isn't good for them," Ruth cautioned. "If you like, you can put the bread and buns in the basket, and then when it dries, it will be better for them, and I can feed them later." Soon the basket was overflowing. Asking one of the mothers to watch the banties, Ruth took the basket into the gymnasium. "Look at what I have," she said to her mother, beaming. "I brought you breakfast, not dried-out bread, but beautiful, fresh-baked buns." "What? Where? How?" Mother asked. "No time to talk," Ruth said, pouring the contents of the basket out onto a scarf she spread on the straw. "I have to get back to my chickens." When the flow of early morning shoppers had finally eased, Ruth took her chickens and the bread-filled basket in again. "This is just like the story in the Bible," she exclaimed, reaching for some of the delicious buns. "You know, the one where God sent the ravens to bring bread to Elijah? This time he used my banties, and I didn't even need to ask." "Yes," Mother said, and for the first time in weeks we saw her smile. It also reminds me of what David said in Psalm 37:25. "I have been young, and now am old, yet have I not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread."